If you guys are here this evening and wish to provide public comment, if you could please fill out a speaker card if you haven't already done so.
Welcome and good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, January 8th, 2026, and the time is 6 p.m. The special meeting of the following will come to order. The Victorville City Council and the same council sitting as the Victorville Library Board of Trustees, the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, the city as a housing asset successor, Joint Powers Finance Authority, and the Victorville Water District. Madam Clerk, will you kindly call the roll?
Councilmember Godin?
Here.
Councilmember Irving?
Present.
Councilmember Mora is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
Here.
Mayor Becerra?
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. At this time, will you please stand for our invocation, our Pledge of Allegiance? The invocation tonight will be led by our pastor, Josh Gerbot, from Victorville's First Assembly of God, and the pledge will be led by Captain Davenport.
Thank you. Nice to see you again, Mayor. So, yeah. Let's pray. God, thank you for a beautiful night. Thank you for our city. Lord, I think about our city that's established so many years ago, all the people that are a part of it, the families, Lord, the kids. I just pray, God, tonight, Lord, your protection upon our city. Lord, that your guidance on our city economically, Lord, politically, Lord, socially, Lord, that you would continue to guide us. Lord, I pray for our city council tonight, for our mayor, Lord, and the city council members. Lord, that you'd give them wisdom tonight, that you would guide them, Lord, that every decision would be made for your glory. So pray your blessings on this evening and on this meeting and all that's here. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. Allegiance, place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you present the agenda and any revisions there too?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are no revisions to the agenda this evening.
I will call for conflict of interest from any of my council members. None? None? We will move on to item 1, written communication. City's position on the County of San Bernardino's proposed comprehensive treatment campus project. Mr. Metzler, would you kindly introduce this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the council. This item involves a resolution memorializing a position of opposition to a project being undertaken by the County of San Bernardino upon approximately 29 acres of property owned by it at the southeast corner of Palmdale and Cobalt Road, with Silverado High School and Cobalt Institute of Math and Science to the west, and Lorea Middle School to the south. On the site currently, the county contracts with the Phoenix House of California to operate a 66-bed drug and alcohol treatment facility. The county recently commenced construction of a significant expansion, as the current construction project is adding approximately 144 beds, which will provide additional support services, including a youth psychiatric residential treatment, adult and youth residential substance use disorder treatment, adult and youth outpatient substance use disorder treatment, withdrawal management, and outpatient wellness center services. Altogether, the project will increase bed capacity to 210, which, to make this scale relatable, is just shy of the region's largest hospital, the 213-bed St. Mary's Hospital in Apple Valley. In addition to what is under construction, the county has applied for additional state funding that could further increase their bed and chair count by 72 for the following services: psychiatric health, including acute care crisis intervention and involuntary 5150 holds, an adult social rehab, and 24/7 crisis stabilization units and a sobering center. So why are we here? First, I think it's important to recognize that Victorville and the entire high desert has a need for these supportive services, and the county should be applauded for their effort to address our community need. However, considering the approach the county took to advance this project forward, it's certainly not reflective of a good governance approach. I can say that because I've reviewed enough of a chronology of events to cause me to believe that the county wasn't entirely forthcoming with the city about its intentions with this property, ignored our requests about what planning and public noticing process it would be following, and failed to answer specific questions raised by council members at a December 10th, 2025 community forum. Interestingly, the community forum was the first attempt seen by this city staff where the county attempted to do community outreach despite the fact that the county had already approved its environmental document on November 4th, 2025, and construction had already started. With all that said, the county's preemptory authority allows them to do what they did. However, that does not make what they did right. Good governance would have more likely looked like a formal invitation to affected public agencies such as the city, such as the high school district, such as the residents. It would have invited residents in the surrounding areas to provide input. Because none of that happened, we didn't have an opportunity to suggest pursuing an alternative location. We didn't have an opportunity to determine if the project was going to fiscally impact the public services already provided to the city and by this city. We didn't have an opportunity to truly weigh the pros and the cons of this project. Before I conclude, before you tonight is a resolution officially opposing Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the project just described to you, and that opposition remain intact until such a time that we are satisfied that the project has been relocated to a more suitable location. It also opposes any proposed countywide sobering center unless and until potential impacts to our public services can be mitigated, and that we oppose county's related funding efforts until meaningful public engagement has occurred. At this time, Madam Mayor, I do believe Ms. Diane Rundles, Assistant CAO for the county, has a brief presentation. And following her is Mr. Carl Coles, the Victor Valley Union High School District Superintendent. This item has been authored by your Deputy City Manager, Mr. Scott Webb. Both he and I, after the presentations, will remain available for any questions or comments you might have.
Thank you, sir. So at this time, it's my understanding that the county would like to make a presentation regarding this item.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of council, as well as leadership within the city. My name is Diane Rundles. I'm Assistant Executive Officer with the county, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak about this project today. Our goal today is to clarify the scope of this project and address any questions you may have. We look forward to a thoughtful discussion and meaningful engagement as we work together to ensure the needs of Victorville residents are met. The St. John of God Healthcare Services Center has served this region, providing withdrawal management services and residential treatment since 1985 without disruption to surrounding neighborhoods, and is actively providing these services today. This history shows that well-managed facilities can coexist peacefully and even strengthen communities. The initial purpose of the comprehensive treatment campus was to provide diverse levels of treatment and care for individuals with substance use disorders. Scope is now expanding to include diverse levels of treatment for individuals with mental health concerns, but the intensity of operations does not increase. By having added options for treatment, the campus broadens the staff's ability to provide more levels of care. Keeping patients at this lower level is good for the patients and the community. The goal is to enable individuals with complex behavioral health needs to move through the continuum of care and receive all necessary services in one place, and avoiding multiple trips to local emergency rooms and hospitals or interactions with law enforcement. This campus is currently operational with 9 buildings and 66 treatment beds. Did I too far ahead? Apologies. So Phase 1 includes $51.4 million in Behavioral Health Continuing Infrastructure Program BCHIP grant, with outpatient co-occurring facility, youth wellness center for recovery and support, 16-bed psychiatric residential treatment facility, a 16-bed adolescent substance use disorder residential treatment facility, 36-bed adult substance use disorder residential treatment facility, and an 18-bed withdrawal management facility. There's also $10.5 million from our community care expansion grant dedicated to this project for 52 recovery residence beds. I want to note that Phase 1 does not include a sobering center, just for clarification. These services will operate in a secure, gated portion of the campus, designed specifically to provide a safe, structured, and compassionate environment for adults, youths, and families. The High Desert region accounts for 30% of all consumers served in the substance use disorder continuum of care and is the highest referring region for, I'm going to refer to it as SUD for substance use disorder, highest referring region for SUD services in San Bernardino County. Substance use has significant ripple effects. In fiscal year 23-24, Victor Valley Union High School District reported 251 drug-related suspensions, making drugs the second highest cause for suspension. Victorville ranked second highest in the county for EMS overdose incidences with 454 cases in 24-25. A lack of SUD services has broad implications, not only on individual health, but also on families, schools, public safety, and the community. The project is an opportunity to expand these services for treatment, capacity, and make them meaningful, positive impact in the High Desert community and the entire region. I want to touch on campus security and logistics. Safety is a top priority for this campus as it has been throughout the years since 1985. Behavioral health facilities like this have operated safely in neighborhoods for decades. Programs are licensed, accredited, and meet strict standards of 24/7 staffing, secure medication management, and emergency response protocols. Programs arrange transportation for clients upon discharge to reduce impact on the city. Students and school staff have no interaction with individuals from the campus. Campus staffed 24/7 for supervision, care, and support. Security measures. We will have perimeter fencing and gates to control any kind of access, and on-site trained security personnel to monitor and maintain safety. A community advisory council based on our last community engagement meeting will be established to address needs, logistics, security, and programming. And this would be open to all community members, and we look forward to further discussion about what that advisory committee could look like. Residential treatment. We'll provide 24-hour short-term care for withdrawal management and rehabilitation for substance use disorders, overseen by a medical director or licensed practitioner for the healing arts. We're offering sober living housing for adults, including those with children. Requires attendance at recovery or treatment programs. This includes education and employment support to help clients transition to permanent housing and integrate into the community. We will provide services to maintain substance use disorders and co-occurring mental health issues simultaneously. This use is integrated treatment approach for better outcomes and improved quality of life. All of these services are unlocked in nature of the facilities. For the adolescent services, we'll have a 16-bed facility providing residential and recovery services for adolescents with substance use disorders. Admission based on medical necessity and individual treatment plans determined by a medical director or LPHA. This is the first of its kind in San Bernardino, serving approximately 170 youth annually. For the adolescent psychiatric residential treatment facility, this is a 16-bed facility, inpatient psychiatric care for adolescents who need more than outpatient treatment but do not qualify for psychiatric hospital. The average stay is 10 days for stabilization and ongoing care and expected to serve about 500 youth annually. For the Wellness Center, a resource hub would be located between the two facilities, providing recovery services and family resources to support youth and families. Access is limited to youth receiving services at this campus. We appreciate the opportunity to present on this project today and reaffirm our commitment to providing comprehensive care that supports successful transitions of every individual that we serve. Upon entering any of the treatment programs, each individual receives a thorough assessment and personalized treatment plan designed to connect them with essential community supports and resources. Our dedicated case managers and care coordinators play a critical role in guiding individuals through this process and addressing case management needs and ensuring smooth transitions of care. This includes referrals to low-intensity treatment when appropriate, as well as connections to employment opportunities, food resources, housing, and other vital community supports. I do want to make a note right here to state that there was discussion about Phase 2 of this project, and I do want to say, upon discussion with the County Administrative Office and our CEO, Luther Snoke, I do have authority to share with you tonight that we are actually going to pull Phase 2 of this project, so I wanted to make that known on the record. Together, these efforts reflect our shared goal to provide not just treatment, but a pathway to stability and success for every individual we serve. Thank you for your time and partnership as we work towards building stronger, healthier communities. These commitments align with the San Bernardino County's countywide vision, as well as advancing the city's Victorville strategic vision to build a safer, cleaner, fiscally healthy Victorville with strong community connections, solid infrastructure, a thriving economy, and reduced homelessness. As we move forward, we welcome continued collaboration with the council, city staff, and community partners to ensure the comprehensive treatment campus strengthens local safety, connection, and opportunity. We do appreciate the opportunity to speak and we look forward to working together to deliver measurable outcomes for the city and families within the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to call up Victor Valley Unified School District. Mr. Coles, if you can come forward.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members, staff, and community members. Thank you for the opportunity to just be able to speak here in front of you tonight. My name is Carl Coles, and I serve as the proud superintendent of schools for the Victor Valley Union High School District. And today, I am here on behalf of the 11,500 students and over 2,000 staff members comprising of our teachers, our counselors, classified employees, and our management teams regarding the behavioral health facility expansion currently under construction off of Cobalt and Palmdale. So let me first say that this situation, it's truly an unforced error. And it serves as an example of the utmost importance of authentic collaboration amongst public entities that serve the same people and communities. The authentic collaboration, it cannot happen in isolation. I also want to continue to go on the record as supporting the behavioral health and substance abuse services in the High Desert and the efforts of the San Bernardino County, its elected officials, the executive team, and the behavioral health department. Our concern is not whether these services are needed, it's the location of this project for our district. Over 4,000 students and nearly 1,000 staff members attend Silverado High School, Lorea Middle School, and Cobalt Institute of Math and Science every day. As a district, we have a long list of concerns, but this is not a study session. So I will be brief on a few significant ones here tonight. Number one, the only way for me to put this project into perspective, and we've heard some today, is to put some context to it. Currently, there's over 60 beds available to serve the community who have drug and alcohol addiction. And we are in no way opposed to the current location or the services that are currently being provided. In fact, the facility was there before Silverado High School was even built. However, with the new design, we argue that this is not a true expansion, but rather a whole new concept of services. What has been approved and authorized by the County of San Bernardino is 210 beds, with a continuum of services ranging from a detox center, outpatient services, residential care, psychiatric care, just to name a few. If at any point our schools tripled in size, it's not just a scale issue. It truly changes the dynamic of teaching and learning and the safety. St. Mary's, has been told today, is the largest hospital up in here in the High Desert. And as a hospital with 213 beds, this facility is going to rival one of the largest care facilities in the High Desert. Managing a facility of this size, it comes with multiple organizational and safety measures that do not belong adjacent to a middle school and across the street from a large comprehensive high school. Additionally, the facility in question, it sits on 29 acres. To put that in perspective, Silverado sits on about 50 acres. And then when you add Cobalt to it, that sits at about 65 acres, just to put some context to what 29 acres is. And the current design and layout are at the closest points to our schools. They can't get any closer. We were there today, we took pictures. The grading, it's going to border the fence line with our schools. The current ingress and egress point is going to be off of Cobalt. which is already a complete mess. I don't know another word to say, but it's a complete mess in the morning and in the afternoon because nearly 4,000 students who ride buses, they walk or they're dropped off coming and going to school. Currently, there's 30 parking spots in the current facility, and the project design calls for an additional 250 parking spots. On December 22nd, during a special board meeting, the district formally opposed the county's action regarding the site location through a board action and direct communication with the County of San Bernardino's representatives. We did so because the facility's immediate proximity to 3 active school campuses and the unresolved questions and concerns that it raises. Those questions and concerns include student and staff safety, emergency response coordination, traffic impacts, operational disruptions, amongst others. We also know that none of us in this room can guarantee an outcome, which is why it is irresponsible to add the safety concerns to all schools throughout the United States that we already currently face on a daily basis. For example, just last month, a detainee escaped the Victor Valley Global Medical Center, forcing Victor Valley High School to go on a lockdown for hours, and it required additional police officers until the individual was detained by law enforcement. And that medical center is several blocks from the Victor Valley High School. Not to mention, the district does not believe that a large-scale drug and alcohol rehabilitation center is an appropriate backdrop for our students to see every day. Schools should be surrounded by parks. They should be surrounded by communities and homes. The environment in which students attend is equally as important as to the academics, as to the arts, the activities, and the athletics that schools provide to our students every day. These are not theoretical issues. They are practical realities that we manage daily in our schools. The County of San Bernardino did not notify the school district, so we were completely blindsided until the construction fences went up. And although the district recognizes the San Bernardino County's autonomy to exempt itself from the environmental impact study under the Welfare Code, nor do they actually have a legal obligation to collaborate beforehand. But which begs the question, what you can do and what you should do are two very different things. I have personally met with several students and staff, and not one of them has expressed a belief that the location of the facility is appropriate or responsible. But on the flip side, not one of them have mentioned that it is not needed in the high desert. And despite many concerns raised, the construction activity, it still continues. That is why the district fully supports the city in passing a resolution that is before you tonight. Similarly, the district is asking the county to pause further work at the site and engage in a more deliberate process with community input. Specifically, we're asking for the support of city leadership and the community at large as we request 3 things from the county. First, that a full study is conducted and with meaningful evaluative impacts on all of our schools. Second, that the county consider alternative locations that can meet service needs without placing this burden on our school communities. And third, during this time, that there be structured community input, including parents, staff, and nearby residents before decisions are finalized. We're not here by any means to obstruct the services or delay care. We're here to advocate for our students, our staff, and our families. We believe there is a path forward that serves the broader community while protecting our schools. We believe this requires a pause. It requires transparency, collaboration, and true partnership. We appreciate the City of Victorville's attention to this issue and your continued advocacy for responsible planning in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we are going to move on to public comment. I will remind the public you'll have 3 minutes. You will be respectful to everybody in here, folks, so let's keep it forward.
Our, our first speaker is Dr. Elise Belford Saldana.
Hello, my name is Dr. Alice Belford Saldana, and I am a Deputy Director for the County of San Bernardino. Excuse me. I'm here just to speak to you on a personal level, but also tie it into the work that we do and how this campus will be affected. I'll just say this, that I can tell you a really quick story. I lost my sister 20 years ago to addiction. She froze to death in a car and died. She was high. She was overdosed in the vehicle. And I'll never forget a story. We lived in Riverside at the time, and we were trying to take her because they didn't have treatment centers in the local community. They had to bus them out to the desert. And when I went to take her to get on the bus, I'll never forget the moment I looked back in the rearview mirror of my car and I saw her running down the street. She was scared. She didn't want to leave the community she knew, and therefore left and never was successful in going to treatment. I too, as a member of San Bernardino County, have lived here most of my life. I call this home, and I'm very proud to be an employee of the County of San Bernardino now, where I have the opportunity to oversee programs that can make differences in people's lives. I too can tell you that I have had my own experiences doing really stupid things like drugs and alcohol, getting caught up in the system, and almost failing my life on multiple occasions. I was lucky enough to have people that came to me and said, "You can do better, you are better, be better." And I said, "Okay, how? Show me," because I was super angry and I just didn't think that that was possible. And what ended up happening is I allowed the help to happen. And today I can stand before you and say I'm an executive manager for the County of San Bernardino. I'm a high school dropout. I have my doctorate degree today. When they came to help me, they didn't say to me, Dr. Belford or Alice at the time, "We want to help you, but we don't want to help you here. We want you to move to the valley or to some other location where you won't be seen by people who know you." They actually said, "We're going to do it right here where it's going to make a difference in the community that you reside." These treatment centers are not for people who are forced into treatment. These are people who want help. These are not easy programs to participate in. They have highly structured environments where they wake up at 6 in the morning, they eat breakfast at 6:30, they're at group by 8 o'clock. They run groups all day long. They learn how to take responsibility for their lives. They learn how to be better contributing citizens. It's not because of the location that they're at that makes them better at who they are, but it is always better to be close to home because that's the environment that you're going to thrive in. And I know many of us
Your
walk in.
time is up.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Michael Blumenstein.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Michael Blumenstein, and I'm here to speak based on personal experience. I was once a client of a crisis stabilization unit, and during one of the most difficult moments of my life, that support helped me feel safe, respected, and heard. Because of that experience, I saw firsthand how powerful these services are, not just in stabilizing a crisis, but in restoring hope. I later had the opportunity to give back by starting as a peer support worker, using my lived experience to help others navigate their own crisis. Since then, I've grown into a quality assurance data clerk role, where I now help ensure these programs remain effective, accountable, and responsive to community needs. I've seen the impact of outreach and connecting people to support before situations escalate, and I've witnessed how peer support builds trust and reduces stigma in ways traditional systems often can't. Crisis stabilization units, outreach, and peer support don't just change outcomes, they change lives, and I am living proof of that. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Rachel Wish.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Rachel Wish, and I'm a teacher at Silverado High School, one of the schools directly adjacent to the proposed expansion of the comprehensive treatment campus. And I'm here tonight to ask you not to approve this expansion. I want to be very clear. I support access to these type of services. Our families, our students, our community absolutely need them, and this is not about stigma. It's about process, transparency, and location, and right now, all three are deeply concerning. The decision to move forward without conducting an impact study raises serious questions. When a facility sits directly next to 3 schools serving over 4,000 students, the failure to formally evaluate safety, traffic, emergency response, campus supervision, and student well-being is not a minor oversight. It suggests a deliberate choice to avoid scrutiny. If there are other teachers, parents, students, or community members here tonight who share these concerns, I invite you to stand up right now. The absence of an impact study does not mean that there is no impact. It means the county chose not to look. As a teacher on one of these campuses, I can tell you that schools are not insulated environments. We manage the arrival and dismissal congestion, campus security, lockdown protocols, and emotional well-being of students every single day. An expansion of this nature, especially without coordination or assessment, directly affects our ability to do our jobs and keep our students safe. Equally important, this is the wrong location. Schools are high-density environments with minors present for most of the day. Putting a facility of this nature immediately adjacent to multiple school sites without heightened review disregards best practices in planning and the student-centered decision-making. There are locations in the city that make much more sense. What is most troubling is that school communities were not meaningfully consulted early in the process. Teachers, admin, facility, and districts should not be finding out after fences are up and dirt is being moved. That undermines the trust and damages the relationship between the county, the city, and the people who serve the children every day. You have the authority and the responsibility to pause this decision, require a full impact study, and reconsider the location. This is responsible governance. I urge you not to approve the expansion as proposed because our students deserve thoughtful planning, transparency, and decisions that place their safety and well-being first. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ed Marino.
Good evening, guys, staff. I was just aware of the proposition that's going on. Like I said, I'm literally a resident. I live about two and a half blocks from the proposed location. I have three kids, 2 daughters and a son. Both of my girls they went to Discovery, and now that they're going to Sims. As a parent, it's very troubling to hear that they're planning to do this really close to my home, staff. You know, there's families around the area. It's just not. It's not. I'm not okay with it. You know, I'm asking and I'm pleading you guys to please stop this. You know, it's just troubling. You know, I work in Ontario. I left work. I just found out, I was emailed today that you guys were having this meeting. I left work to be here to basically let you guys know that this is not okay. You know, and I thank you for everything you guys are doing. I hope and I pray that God give you guys wisdom, and we as a community need to stand not for this. We don't. Our kids deserve better. You know, that's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Christian Vizcarra.
Hello, my name is Christian Vizcarra. I am a senior at Silverado High School. I am also a part of my school's ASB leadership, and I'm here on behalf of my other ASB classmates and the other student body that attends my school. First off, I would like to start off by saying that the way that this was introduced was very unprofessional on the county's behalf. Neither the schools in the area or the residents were notified of this treatment facility when the construction first started. Many residents and students are still not aware of this facility being built so close to our community. I am knowledgeable that yes, we do need these kind of programs, especially in the high desert, although the location of where it's being built is very inappropriate. The county project stated that there will be no impact because there is no demand for new expansions of school facilities. This is not only false, but a slap to the surrounding community's face. You show no regard or interest in the safety of the surrounding area. Why do we need new school facilities to show concern when there's already school facilities now? There are many risk factors for the area that it's in. What if one of these residents just flip? How can you guys guarantee that this person won't leave your open facility and walk out onto nearby school grounds? All 3 schools in the surrounding area have constant after-school activities and leave our gates open 24/7. Not only will this affect us during school hours, but even after. I am aware that St. John's has been here for over 30 years with no issues, but this is not a minor expansion. This is a major expansion with over 200 beds being built. The chances of a problem happening majorly increase, and when there is a chance and risk, it is not worth it, especially with the surrounding environment. If this facility is built, will it not only affect my generation, other kids' siblings, my kids, or even my grandchildren? So I would like to say that, again, I am in support of such treatments being open for people who need them. But again, the location is very inappropriate. I will finish off if construction continues, not only will you continue to hear from the school board, but the many residents and thousands of students that are in this community today. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Melissa B.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Bucheri, and I am actually a resident of City of Victorville since about 4 years old, so that's about 32 years. I am a professional therapist that works in addiction specialties, right, in a healthcare setting. I have worked in this community in a community aspect for much of my career before college, substitute taught before becoming a therapist. So I've been doing this for about 11 years. And I come to you as a resident to be able to say, I understand many of the concerns that have been expressed. I can see them from a lot of angles. But my encouragement as a resident who lives within a few miles of the new facility, which is actually an expansion, right, of Phoenix House Services, this is so needed. And we have an opportunity as voted in by Proposition 1, right? And this is something that has been very nerve-wracking for me to share with you, but I want you to hear my heart. We can look at statistics. We can look at all of the highest needs. I hear them daily, the calls of the heartbreaking family members, and how I can best direct them to treatment services to get them in. When they need alcohol detox or withdrawal management services, they're out of the area. This can bring jobs. I understand the schools. I understand everything for the community. But I urge my leaders, this is our opportunity to pioneer, to take leadership. Victorville has always been innovative. And in a sense where we can set the tone for, okay, how do we sit down, have conversations with respect to an important time frame? This is the first time we have an opportunity with BCHIP. But Department of Healthcare Services has set a timeline for that, and that's very important to be mindful of. So I encourage you to be mindful and encouraging to say, hey, we have a lot of partners here. How can we come alongside each other and unify to bring the necessary services, alterations, but expediting, because there is a time frame and it is hard to open a treatment center. It takes about 5 years to get a Medi-Cal approval from the state. So there's a lot of treatment services. Substance use disorder and mental services does not discriminate. I see it in our healthcare setting every day. Our youth are hurting and they do not get transferred out of the area nearest to us for a higher level of care for psychiatric services is Colton. We send them for appropriate levels of care. We understand many of the medical necessity, stabilization before appropriate referrals to the coordinated system of care for entry. So concerns in that regard for treatment being provided, we should take a look at the other facilities and how Phoenix House is operating now, where there isn't many to, I think, hinder.
Your
So I
time is
encourage
up.
you, please.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephanie Landez.
Good evening, members of the board, city, and community members. My name is Stephanie Landez, and I am both a parent of a sophomore at Silverado High School and the activities director. I have the privilege to help facilitate and guide 70 high school students within our associated student body. I am here tonight to share their voice and their concerns regarding the development occurring for the rehab center directly across the street. And while we understand that the final decisions and issues actually rest with the county and not the city, we felt it important to have their voices heard in a public forum so that the city is aware of the Associated Student Body perspective. And thank you, Christian, for sharing. I'm here tonight on behalf of more than 2,000 students from Silverado High School who attend school every day around this proposed site. I am speaking for students whose voices were not meaningfully included in this decision, but who will live with its consequences. So here's what they have to say. Let us be clear from the beginning. Students support behavioral health and substance abuse treatment. We understand its importance. Our concern is not whether the treatment facilities should exist, it's where they're placing this one. We walk these streets. We wait at these crosswalks. We experience lockdowns, traffic gridlocks, and safety drills, not as policy discussions, but as interruptions to our learning and our own sense of safety. Making a large-scale open treatment facility the front door to our schools introduces risks that students can't simply opt out of. Schools should be places where students feel safe, welcomed, and proud where they learn. Instead, this placement risks creating fear, anxiety, long-term damage to school climate, enrollment, and community confidence. Students are also concerned about messaging. Adolescents are still developing. Schools work intentionally to promote prevention, healthy choices, and accountability. Placing a large-scale drug and alcohol treatment facility adjacent to our campus risks unintentionally normalizing substance abuse, not because treatment is wrong, but because location matters. At the same time, students believe strongly that patients in recovery deserve dignity, privacy, and the best possible environment for healing. Recovery is fragile. A densely populated, high-traffic school zone surrounded by thousands of students does not support that goal. That location fails both students and patients. Traffic is already overwhelming. The two-lane road serving these schools is gridlocked for hours every morning and every afternoon. Thousands of students walk the corridor daily, many after sunrise, or before sunrise and after dark. Their routes can't be changed. Their schedules cannot be adjusted. Their safety depends on adult decisions. Students feel unheard. Decisions about our safety and learning environment were made without us at the table. Please listen to us. We're not asking for convenience. We're asking for responsibility, transparency, and safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I do not have any additional speaker cards.
I know some people got here late. Anybody else with a speaker card? Let's bring them over to our city clerk, please.
His name is Roger Uminski.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Roger Uminski. I'm the CEO of Citrus Counseling Services. We're a not-for-profit behavioral health clinic system. One of our clinics is here in your town. And, from what I've heard here, I think of, something that I'm very familiar with, which is in the absence of information, people make up the worst possible stories. And so I think that, it sounds like our friends at the county could have done a much better job in terms of providing some information, letting people know about this project, what the impact is going to be, et cetera. That being said, from what we do and what we see and what my staff experiences, this particular project is something that's sorely needed in this area. There are incredible wait lists for the types of services that are going to be provided by this particular project that is incredibly needed. Not having this has some serious impact on human lives, especially young people. What this can do is it can prevent and treat a lot of things that are going on with trauma, with substance use, domestic violence, human trafficking, et cetera. So based on that, I just want to speak in support of this particular project. I hope that there's a way that this council and this community can work together to figure out how to make it go forward and understand, possibly what the potential issues are with it and come up with reasonable ways to mitigate that. It's an incredible opportunity with these funds that are available that don't come around very often. And it would be a terrible thing to lose that in this community. So thank you very much for your time and your consideration. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Is that it? I would like to read a statement. First of all, I think it's important to recognize and appreciate the input from the county, the school district, and even the staff regarding this matter. With all that said, I remain surprised how quickly the county moved on this project forward when you consider all that's typically involved to move a project forward. Obtaining funding and obtain the requisite land use approval to construct. This project has moved at a pace that I have never seen from the county. They chose, instead of involving our community, to ram this project through, dump it on the residents of the city of Victorville and the parents of the high school district with zero regard for our concerns. And we asked, does this mean that the first district supervisor doesn't care what happens in Victorville? I don't think so. I would like to believe that is not the case. Prior to this action by the county, I believe the county and the first district supervisor cared about this community. But I definitely questioning now that given the warp speed that this project has moved. Finally, I have no doubt about the need for the services that are being contemplated by the county with this project. The problem is location. And like they say, location, location, location. The problem is not knowing how this project will physically impact this community. I have no doubt that the county reached out to us. Like a partner, we would not be here today, and we would be more focused on a suitable location. I urge my fellow council members to adopt the resolution opposed in this project, and I encourage every resident of the city of Victorville to reach out to your first district supervisor, the Board of Supervisor of San Bernardino County, the Sun newspaper, and express their concern about this county's wrongdoing. Now, at this time, we will take questions from my fellow council members. We'll start off with Councilmember Godin.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, would you like me to read the recommendation?
That would be good too, thank you.
You're welcome. That the Honorable City Council adopt Resolution Number 26-005, thereby formally opposing the County of San Bernardino's proposed comprehensive treatment campus expansion in its current proposed location and configuration, and opposing the award of State of California Behavioral Health Continuum Infrastructure Program funding for the projects proposed within the City of Victorville due to the lack of community engagement, and further directing staff to transmit the city's position to the County Board of Supervisors, state legislators, and relevant state funding agencies.
Thank you. At this time, we'll start with questions from council members. Councilmember Godin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have several questions, as this is a very complex situation. My first question, in the presentation that we received from the county to start off the meeting, there was some indication that this would be something that's just for the city of Victorville, or could be taken that it's just going to be for the city of Victorville, but it's my understanding that this is a county-wide facility.
Mr. Metzler.
That's my understanding, but I think it might be best to invite a representative from the county to clarify that.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Alcina. I'm the Assistant Director for the Department of Behavioral Health. What I can tell you is this area has a high need for these services. So bringing the services here to this community would meet the folks where they're at. So right now, we don't have the infrastructure to serve this community, but there is a very large need here, which we shared on the slide.
So does that mean that there would be priority given to Victorville residents?
The way our system works is we do a first come, first serve. So the folks are already calling in for services. So for this campus, if you have someone that lives here and they're calling in, this would be the best place for them.
So first come, first serve, though, just to clarify, so I understand, that could be anybody within the county of San Bernardino?
Yes.
Okay. And what steps were taken prior to acquisition of the property to notify residents?
I think that would be a twofold question. So I want to make sure that our Assistant Director, Jennifer, answers the question on the community engagement piece. but also answer the question in regarding to engagement overall on the project. Is that the
Absolutely.
request? Yes, okay. So go ahead and Jennifer, answer that question, and then we'll ask our project facilities management leadership team to come up as well and answer that question.
Thank you.
For the purposes of the grant, the stakeholder engagement piece, we held 20 different forums, and we had almost 500 people participate in those. So that's the for these facilities.
And that was prior to acquisition?
Yes, we were in the acquisition process.
In the process of acquisition?
Yes.
Okay. So phase two would have brought a different dynamic, clearly. I know that there's been obviously a change in the plan. So I have two questions in regard to that. The St. John of God, the level of service that was provided, there were no lockdown, there were no 5150 holds. It was just residential care and it was volunteer, correct?
Correct.
So phase one, would that involve the same care level?
A couple of these are step down levels of care. None of them are locked facilities.
Okay, so would we be increasing the level of care from what St. John of God was offering?
No, it would be the same level of care. Right now, we only serve adults. So this would be expanding that level of care, but also to serve a youth.
Mm-hmm. So it would be expanding the bed count, correct?
Correct.
Okay, what guarantee or what assurance would we have that the county wouldn't later on decide we do want to do phase two?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Councilmember Godden. So to answer your question regarding phase two, there's a purpose for me putting that on the record today to state publicly that we will be pulling that application. That being said, we have not yet pulled the application, and the reason being is we do have an opportunity, as many have mentioned, with these resources from the state, to have some conversations with the city regarding those resources that are needed to see if maybe we can repurpose that application and maybe find another location where those types of services can be committed for the city, because we do understand that it is still a need, maybe just not the best location. But the county's commitment is to pull that application for that facility.
Okay, one last question for you. On the map that you provided in the presentation, the existing campus was not included in the exterior fencing?
I'm sorry, say that again?
On the map that you provided in your
Yes.
presentation, the
Yes.
existing campus that's
Right.
there already,
Yes.
not including the expansion. You show a new exterior fence being constructed around the new construction,
that
but
is correct.
not the existing campus. So there wouldn't be any protective or security fencing that would encompass the entire campus, is my question.
Yes, there would be fencing encompassing the entire campus. It will be a locked, gated facility.
Okay, so this map just isn't proper representation of the actual security fencing.
And yeah, I believe it's temporary fencing. I may need to call on our project facilities management team to discuss that as far as the construction versus the final phase on the fencing. But I believe we have some temporary fencing now, and then we will have permanent fencing when the project is completed. But I do also want to note that some of those conversations can be conversations that can be had with the city as far as the preference, and the school district as well with their input, as far as the preference as to what that looks like aesthetically. I'd like to ask our leadership from Project Facilities Management, though, to touch on that further, if that would be okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, honorable representatives from Victorville. My name is Don Day. I represent our design, construction, and facilities management. And I can point to the site map that was shown earlier in the presentation. And I can confirm that the new facility that's being built does have a 10-foot protective gate around it. The existing campus is not intended to have the existing fencing replaced. However, it does have existing fencing around it right now. But as we've discussed as a county, we're here to have discussions with the city and have discussion with the city about our current design. And if there are any feedback that the city has, we would surely love to sit down and have a conversation with you about any other elements that you might be interested in seeing.
And what does that current fencing look like around the existing campus?
It's a chain link fencing around the current campus right now. And I guess I would call it a wrought iron decorative steel fencing is what's being proposed for the new facility.
Okay. And so just to clarify, one last question, the phase one would include a total bed count of 210, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yes, okay, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Irving?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I want to say that I in no way want to create an adversarial environment between the city of Victorville, our community at large, and the Department of Behavioral Health. However, my concerns center on accountability. As I look on the audience and I see a very, what I presume to be a very seasoned group of public administrators, can someone give me the rationale as to why the Department of Behavioral Health did not engage with the city of Victorville and the school district in the fashion that we so deserved? That's my first question. Secondly, at your public forum, I asked for some very specific data because I knew, or I believe that a night like this would come, and I so much wanted to be in support. But as you know, without data, data drives decisions. Without data, when I get phone calls from parents that are angry about the proposed proximity of your comprehensive facility treatment center to schools, what am I to say? You left me in the dark, and I want some answers about your accountability. And Ms. Rundles, can you answer?
Thank you very much. I would like to say, first of all, we agree with you in the sense of the level of community engagement that is warranted for a project like this. I think we fell short, and I'm going to speak to that, and I spoke to that in our community engagement meeting. As far as following all legal requirements and notices, the county did do so. We did follow all of our legal requirements and noticing, and we're happy to provide any information in regards to what that looked like and the history on that. But I do want to acknowledge that I believe that the community deserved more engagement on this project, absolutely, 100%. And we're here to say we want to make this right with the community, with the city. We respect the city very much. This is a very important project, and we have the best of intentions as far as the services for the community, for the city. But I think we could do a lot more in having engagement with the city, engagement with the school district, and having discussions around this project.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments. For me, I guess as a policymaker, the question is, does the public good outweigh the proposed proximity, the encumbrance that you will put on the community?
Yes.
I've been concerned about cost because you're going to deal with some of the most traumatized individuals at this particular site, correct? Probably within the county. And to me, trauma, it equates to public safety. I've heard the word safety resonate throughout the chamber tonight, and I couldn't agree more. But to say I'm sorry that we didn't do a good job, it still doesn't provide the rationale as to why not. For me, I'm wondering whether or not because you have preemptive authority, you did not have a legal requirement to do so, thereby you didn't. I hope that you did not show a blatant disregard for the city of Victorville and its leadership, because as I look over the comprehensive timeline that was provided, it looks like about 1.5 years ago to 2 years ago, you decided you weren't going to engage with the city of Victorville in the fashion that I think that you should have.
Well, I would love to sit down and have some discussion regarding the chronology of noticing it, et cetera, but I do acknowledge once again, I want to say to you that I think we did not do the best of partnership on this project, to say the least. I think we absolutely owe that to the city and the school district to have a better partnership on this project, no doubt. I do want to say that we haven't had safety concerns. There's very, very minimal safety concerns that have existed on the current campus. Our law enforcement, we work closely with them. We've looked at statistics on any kind of safety calls for that campus, and it's been very de minimis. They've shared with us, the sheriff's office has shared with us that they've gotten very few calls, and most calls that they've received are from other business entities, not necessarily this campus. It's been pretty quiet. I mean, given it's been there since 1985, and some of us are just realizing it's there.
Well, I appreciate your comments. I'm very disappointed.
Yes, I understand.
Thank you, and I would have thought that you would have done more to engage with the city and the school district about a project of this nature. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. We acknowledge that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, before I continue, I'm going to read a statement from Councilmember Mora for not being able to attend tonight. To my mayor and fellow city council members, I'm truly sorry I can't participate in person tonight. I had a prearranged vacation that conflicts with tonight's meeting. However, I want to share with you this statement to be read into the meeting record so that you and the community are aware of my views on this subject. I would like to support staff's recommendation for San Bernardino County's Comprehensive Treatment Campus project, which opposes the current location and configuration. Although behavioral health and facilities that can support our community are important, I am happy to see that the county investing in this type of facilities in our community. I do not believe the location is the best interest of our students and our community. This location is right next door to schools and practice fields, which I believe creates unnecessary risks. As a mother of students who practice at Lorea Middle School, I see firsthand the concerns of the community. I believe it is our responsibility and duty to protect the citizens, especially children in our cities. That was from Councilmember Mora. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman.
Okay, I'll start with some of my questions have already been asked. But I'm a blunt person, so I'm just going to get blunt. Why did you take the path that you did, especially when you stand here and tell us that you've failed?
I do want to share with you the requirement. So what I think may have led to some of this lack of communication or really thorough communication, if you will, and engaging and having conversations about this project has to do with timelines. We have a state agreement that has an extremely rigorous timeline on this project. And I think with the pressure of the state's timeline to meet our construction deadlines and the costs that could be incurred with delays on this project, I think that that caused a level of pressure and stress on the staff to perform and to manage this project as efficiently and as effectively as possible, which I think may have led to a bit of a oversight as to other critical parts of this conversation that needed to occur. I hope, I know that this is a frustrating process, but I think that's the best I can do in answering your question right now.
Why was it not an option to not use the grant and reapply for it once you had a plan in place? We went through this in the city of Victorville. We had I believe, a home key grant for our wellness center, and we were awarded that grant, and our city staff went over and beyond and decided we could not do the project in the timeline that the grantor demanded. And we waited. And why was that avenue not visited by your staff? Or I don't know if it all sits on your shoulders, maybe it does, but whoever is the decision maker, you guys are professionals. I have the utmost respect for the county, I really do, especially my county supervisor Cook and his staff. I don't really know you guys. That's a political thing. I get it, but I can taste incompetency is the taste I'm getting.
So as far as any expediting of this project, it came once the grant was actually provided to us. So we had already been in receipt of the grant, I believe in 2023. That's correct, yes. So, the need to expedite the grant came from the timing in which we actually received the award, and then we're able, the timing that we were given from the state to actually execute and complete the project. So at that point, we had already been given the grant funding, so there wasn't really an opportunity for us to say we're not going to receive those funds. We were way past that point. And I think at that point, once the grant funds were received, that is the point in which I think some of this expediting processing that might have taken place that did not include enough comprehensive discussion.
Would you agree with me then that you were not prepared for the grant? Because what I'm talking about is being prepared for it. You had to apply for it.
Yes.
I mean, I don't understand why nobody
Time
would
is
think
up.
about things until the grant was awarded.
I really can't speak to that, to be honest with you, other than the fact that there was, we'd have to really discuss all the engagement that took place, the steps that took place in this process to really help understand the context of the situation and how those notifications took place. I don't believe that the county did anything that was outside of the legal parameters in executing this application and moving forward and executing this project. I think what needed more time, and Jennifer Alcina, our assistant director, alluded to the amount of community engagements that took place on the side of behavioral health, but what I think needed more time and investment was our relationship with the city and our relationship with the school district on this project.
Madam Mayor, could I get another minute?
Give them another minute.
If you were to look back and start from the beginning, where, and let's say you knew that the community and this wasn't going to work there, where did you guys look at another location, or did you just stay focused on one?
I will let Jennifer Alcina comment because I don't want to speak out of turn, but I believe there were a number of sites reviewed. So Jennifer, could you please?
Before I answer that question, I do want to say that previous rounds of the grants were targeted to specific populations or were quote-unquote launch ready, meaning you had the shovel in the ground. So at the time of, this is round 5 that we were awarded. For round 3, that was a launch ready grant. We did not own the property. A big component of being competitive for that round is you had secured property. And we were still in the acquisition phase at that point.
What year?
What was that?
What year?
Probably the previous year, maybe 2022, early on. I can go back and look at the dates. But the next round, round 4, was for adolescent services. We do
Okay,
have.
you're veering off. You're floating away. I want to know why you guys didn't have. You say you had multiple locations, and you came to the decision that this was the best location? Because I find that decision incompetent.
I see. Well, I didn't get to that point
Okay.
yet. So I'm answering your previous question about why didn't we apply for different rounds of these grants. So round 3 was a launch ready grant, and we did not own the property. Round 4 was targeted to youth services, so they had to be youth-only facilities. We did consider applying for round 4, and we knew we were not ready to apply for that grant, and we would wait for round 5, which is the grant that we applied for. So these timelines are very aggressive. It's a lot to do in a very short amount of time. We did hear some rumblings around the state that the round 6 may or may not happen, and it ultimately did not happen. And that was the terms of the grant. Now, to answer your other question, when we were looking at the acquisition for this parcel, it was previously owned by St. John of God, and they own 10 other properties. We visited all of these properties. It would have been more costly to renovate these other properties. I think our outpatient was over 100 years old, that building that we were operating in. So buying this property had the potential to do new construction where the other properties did not have that opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to touch on something, come back. I'm going to touch on something you just said, that these other properties didn't have the acquisition to do it. You bought this property for $2 million back in 2021. From that point forward, you guys are asking for grants, you guys are asking for money, And we are emailing you asking, what do you plan on doing? And on one email, we have, oh, nothing, nothing. We're not doing anything with the property. We sent another email. We hear crickets. When somebody hides something from you, it's no good. And this is what this is. This is a shell game. This is hidden. This is what this reads to me. You guys are picking on our city, and I'm going to call it picking on, because you say that drugs are the highest second offense for suspensions annually in 2023, 2024, Victor Valley Union High School District, 251 drug-related suspensions. Sir, how many students do we have at Victor Valley Senior School District? 10,000? And 251 kids may have gotten caught with a Tylenol, a vape. When you say drug-related, it could be anything from a Tylenol to an asthma spray, correct? If a child has an asthma spray and it is not a doctor written behind it, that child is suspended for use of his asthma spray for a drug-related offense, correct? Okay, so when you're picking on our schools, it's drug-related suspension. 270 calls for service for our related to public intoxication for the desert. We have 500,000 people that live in the desert. And not all of them are addicted to alcohol and drugs. Some of them are just stupid and go out partying and then they drive home drunk. We have a higher fatal injury crashes from 2022. Why? Because everybody moved from down the hill and think because we're country bumpkin and it's the desert, you can drive 80 miles an hour down Armagosa and Bear Valley. We have the most high desert. We have overdose incidents as the second highest. We have the second largest homeless population. Will the homeless people be able to be dropped off and say no insurance, no benefits, no nothing? You treat them for free, like Victor Valley Hospital, St. Mary's, and Desert Valley Hospital has to do. No.
No, yes, we do.
Okay,
We
but
have,
where are you gonna send them afterwards? Back on the street, because they're homeless to begin with. You mentioned, oh, we're gonna be partners and send them to our wellness center. That's our wellness center. So your people that are homeless and you guys are bringing in and treating it, and now they're fine, now you want them at our homeless center. Then you say that you didn't know. We emailed you guys on many, many occasions, and we got nothing. We got, no, we're not doing anything. And yet, days later, we can prove by public record, you guys applied for grants, and still nothing.
Your time is up.
I'm gonna take 1 minute. You make the mention of 20 additional, you made 20 forums. You consider forums a meeting? So you had 20 meetings
yes.
in Victorville? I may be blind, but I think I would have heard of one.
No.
My granddaughter wanted me to ask you this question. Why isn't this put in Ranch Cucamonga? Maybe because their homes cost $2 and $3 million? Why not Fontana? Why not Rialto? Why not somewhere down the hill? Because they would have said no. And their tax dollars are higher than ours for San Bernardino County. So why pick on us? That's all I have. Thank you. At this time, I'll invite a motion to adopt staff's recommendation. Motion to adopt, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to approve, item 1, as to point 26005.
Is that good, Jen?
Would that be to approve staff's recommendation as presented on the agenda to adopt resolution number 26-005?
Yes, my apologies. I'm not the greatest.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a first by by Mayor Pro Tem Harriman and a second by Councilmember Irving. Mayor Pro Tem Harriman, comments on the pending motion?
Yeah. So I'm going to speak to the audience. I got voted in by my constituents, and I have since attending the forum, it's been a couple weeks ago now. I have talked to many people, and I'm here to represent the people, and overwhelmingly 99.5% were against this. The people that had kids attending the Victor Valley Union High School District were 100% against it, and I represent the people of Victorville. So I have all the compassion in the world. I could do the same thing everyone else did and say, my brother, you're younger than me, went through it all also. Took him 15 years to get clean. He ended up with the Salvation Army actually in Santa Monica to clean himself up. But so the compassion is here. But look, I agree it needs to be in Victorville because we are the hub of the high desert and there's 500,000 people up here, but we're 74 square miles. And there's even county property, the areas in Victorville that we haven't annexed. So there's plenty of area that I just feel like the staff, the county staff, just failed. And like I said, I'm comparing that with my staff. We have got it together. We have some of the greatest people running this city. And when they couldn't do something with that grant, they declined it and went back to get it when we were prepared. You got to be prepared. If you want grants, you got to be prepared. I will also say, I think the state screwed up also because they should have had some oversight. They should have maybe asked more questions to the county on your preparedness to spend the money. So I know it's a very complex thing, but like I said, my constituents are against this. I represent the people of Victorville, and so that's where I'm at.
Councilmember Irving.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I echo the sentiments of my colleague, Mayor Pro Tem Harriman. I too represent the community, the citizens of Victorville, and most that I've spoken to are against this project because of the proximity. I also heard the words or the sentiments of the educational community. I'm a teacher, so I understand the hard work that we put forth in trying to protect our children. They're young. This could be a distraction, and we're trying to keep them on the path to success. But I also understand that there's a need for this kind of facility in the district, so I'm hopeful that there's a pathway moving forward. I would encourage the public administrators in the audience from the Department of Behavioral Health to engage and collaborate with the stakeholders of this community. I do think that there is an outcome that will be favorable for all, and so I encourage you to continue to reach out to the city and to the school district so that we can help find a different location. Because I think we all agree that these services are needed. So thank you very much.
Councilwoman Godin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too am also in support of these services within our city. It's something that's highly needed, and we certainly don't want to underscore part of our population because of another. At the same time, I think it's really important that the county doesn't use the city and the residents as a scapegoat. We all are in agreement, I believe, that this is a needed facility, a needed treatment. But I also am a mom, and I also am hearing the residents and the concern of the teachers and the educators. We have to protect our children, we have to protect their minds, and we have to protect them physically. And I agree that we need these services, but I also am in disagreement with where these services would be provided in the proximity of our schools and campuses and our children. I also realize that the county has preemptive authority. They can go ahead with this project whether we like it or not. But I do think it's important that we state our case and we take our position. We, want to hear what the county has to say, and I agree with what the mayor stated, that had communication been offered, we would have gladly accepted. We would have loved to partner with the county to come to the right answer, because there is a right answer. And I believe that we can come together. And my hopes is that by taking this stance, that the county will listen, that we will be able to go back to the drawing board, and that we will be able to make a decision that benefits all. So with that being said, I hope that our comments tonight will be heard. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. My comments go along with Councilman Godin. They can't move forward on this, folks. Silverado, let's see what 4,000 letters to our first district supervisor look like. Lorea, same thing. Sims, same thing. Let's start writing letters, folks. Because if they continue this, and the first child that gets hurt, because it can happen, I will be standing there. So please, get your schools, get the residents in the area. Let's start writing letters. And it's just to say, hi, please stop the project. That's it. Put it in an envelope, put it in the mail. Because they can move forward with this. Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you take the vote, please?
Councilmember Godian?
Yes.
Councilmember Irving?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Harriman?
Yes.
Mayor Becerra?
Yes.
Motion passes with Councilmember Mora being absent.
We've now taken action to approve Resolution 26005 as stated in the agenda. At 7:20, this meeting's adjourned.